haven't been well behaved in a few minutes. Ooh, my pants are wet. Felt it when I sat down. Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
We'll open it up Coach, opening statement.
All right. First of all, I have to say thank you, and they're not here, but to everyone that helped us host this weekend. An incredible undertaking, a lot of commitment, a lot of time, a lot of hours. But the atmosphere was absolutely incredible. And both days, I just sat in awe almost for the starting lineup and looked at our team like, holy cow, guys, you've created something magical, something special that hadn't been done here in women's basketball before. So thank you to everyone that helped host. It was just a special weekend for our senior class who's left such a legacy on our program. The game was unbelievable. Everything that you would think, everything that we thought heading in. Villanova is a great program. I've known them for years, having been in the Big East for 10 years. I know their style of play. Very difficult to defend, and our team just locked them down. They have an All-American in Maddie Siegrist, and Naz did not only play on the offensive end, but she defended that kid for the entire game. Their assistant coach, longtime assistant who I had known for 20 years, just grabbed me and told me he's never seen anyone play with that type of motor on both ends of the floor. He said she's even better in person than he could have imagined. So just a special last time for her playing on Chrysler. But really, I mean, you see a dynamic duo right here. Leah Brown wanted to come here to have the opportunity to play with Naz Hillman because she knew that they could create something special. And we said in the locker room, you know, I've been coaching a long time. I know a lot of great coaches that have never been to the Sweet 16, ever. For us to go back-to-back years is absolutely incredible and just a credit to the players in our program. So super pumped. Excited to still be playing. I don't want to even think about the time when she's not playing in the Michigan uniform anymore, so I'm happy to have a few more days of that at least.
We'll open it up for questions for the players.
50 career double-doubles for you. Coming to Michigan, did you think this is where you would be at?
I would say no and yes. I think Coach, when I, came on my first visits, had a PowerPoint of all the things that, she thought that we could accomplish. And she always said that it won't work unless I put in the work, and nobody's going to hold my hand to do it. So in terms of the success in general, yes. But to be in back-to-back Sweet 16s, wouldn't have thought of that. To be a 2,000 and 1,000 in that category, I mean, just things that you don't necessarily think about. Sometimes coming in from high school. So yes and no, just because of, the dedication Coach has put into me, one of the constants throughout my 4 years, and just, the determination of this team.
I mean, she just did a little dance when I said 50 career double-doubles. I mean, the smiles, you two hugging on the sidelines. You kind of put your head down modestly when she talks about what Villanova said about you. Do you have a grasp of just how good of a college basketball player you are? Got you, Coach.
I think for me, I say it more times than not that I don't look as good without my teammates. And one of them is sitting right here. She makes me look really good when she's passing me the ball. And just how many threats we have around me, there's no way I could be the player that I am today without them. And I think that's one thing to keep important, to keep in mind, and that's super important. That it's not just about me, especially in this moment.
Over here on the right.
Hey, Naz, can you take me through your thought process before the game and kind of how you approached your last game at Chrysler, and was there a point in the game where you felt like you were starting to take over?
Yeah, so my thought process before the game was to have fun. Obviously, last game at Chrysler, regardless of the final score, seeing a lot of what's going on in the women's side, a lot of upsets, just really focusing in on trying to give my 110% for this last game, for my teammates, for that crowd. And then throughout the game, there were some moments where I was like, we really are hitting the gas pedal and we're really flowing into our things, getting our transition, really getting stops on defense, but never settling. Like Coach said, they're a great team. They were knocking down a bunch of threes, so if we were to relax at any point, they would be able to come back. So never a moment until I came out of the game where I was really like, we got this. But in my head before the game, just really having fun and celebrating the moment.
Guys, how much pride do you feel in winning every single game at home this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge sense of pride, but, Coach kind of touched on it earlier. We wouldn't be able to be in this position without, our fans, the people that make it happen every day. So, I mean, the energy and the atmosphere in there today was absolutely insane. I know there was a point when we went up 8, I think it was 48-40, where we couldn't even hear ourselves think. So that definitely makes a huge difference, and, yeah, it's a lot of pride for sure.
Exactly what Leah said. Coming in here yesterday, and we were in warm-ups, and all the Maze Rage was here, a bunch of our fans were here. And then on 6 o'clock on a Monday, people filled the gym back up. And it's just a testament, throughout my years, we've gotten more and more fans, and just how proud of us that they are. You can see that in their chants and their reoccurring, just coming to the games. I mean, it's a ton of pride in that, and just people wanting to celebrate women's basketball.
Go there.
How quickly will this celebration end? And having been to the Sweet 16 last year, how motivated are you to, win more than just 2 games?
Right. The celebration will probably end when we get to practice, whatever day that is, whether that's tomorrow or the next day. But Coach said it in the locker room to us. When we've lost games and been in tight situations, we're upset, crying, everything in between. And in moments like this, we need to celebrate. Everybody doesn't get to the Sweet 16. You never know when it's going to happen again. So we need to celebrate, for our time. And that's not to say that we need to celebrate for the entire week or until we play our next game. But taking some pride and being happy for our accomplishments as much as we are upset when, the game doesn't go our way.
Got time for 2 more, Angelique?
I have to. Naz, could you discuss the way you played defense on Seagrass tonight, and also for you, Leah, the two of you, do you have read each other's thoughts on the court? I mean, how is it that you work so well together?
Yeah, in terms of defending, Maddie, we watched a lot of film since our last game against American, and just know that she's a 3-level scorer. Trying to find ways so I could push her to my help. That was a huge thing. Obviously, she can curl off of it, pop for 3. So I try to take away at least one part of it and send her to the rest of my help. So it was a team effort, although everybody will say I was guarding her most of the time, but I had a lot of help very often.
Yeah, I mean, I say it all the time. Naz makes my job pretty easy. I think when I got here in the summer, I think maybe it took a few days or a couple weeks, but it kind of just clicked, honestly, us being able to play together. Yeah, I'm super hard to guard. I think Coach does a really good job of putting us in actions where we're successful, whether that's down screens, hit the curl, and then she has an ISO on the single side. But, yeah, I think that it just kind of clicked, honestly, pretty naturally.
Final question down in front here on the left.
You guys out-rebounded them 49-25. Danielle had 8. Layla had 5. How important was that tonight?
That was super important. Coach harped on that one. Called people out by name of how many rebounds people have and have not had. And that was a point of emphasis. They're a scrappy team. They want to get to the boards just as much as we do. And that's a difference maker for us, especially being a little bit bigger in the post. It was a point that was really focused on throughout this 2 days that we had, and really getting in there because we feel like that's the strength of our team.
All right, thank you, ladies. You're dismissed.
Thank you.
All right, we'll open it up to questions for Coach.
Your hair's up in a bun. You got a different T-shirt on. What was the locker room scene after? I assume there was some water involved.
Yeah, it's funny. When I first got in there, we were everybody was sitting in their seat and just super composed and just another game. And that's kind of what they were talking about. We had to be reminded, and I said that to them, like, this doesn't happen all the time. And there's been so many times where we've had devastating losses this year by a point or by 2 points, and that's really hurt us. The locker room would be crying, and people would take a couple days to get over it. This is a moment that we really need to celebrate. So I said we need to like get going here. We need to celebrate this moment. So then we started to celebrate the moment, and the locker room got a little bit crazy. But I think if there's one thing that you learn being in this business for a long time, you always harp on the losses, and they always kill you. You lose a ton of sleep as a coach. But even our players, they care so much. They're so invested. And when we lose, it eats at them. And we always talk about the recovery of coming back from a loss and being able to bounce back. Well, we need to celebrate. And Coach Beeline not long ago told me, he sent me a message and said in a text, he said, you know what? I wish I celebrated the wins a little bit more. So make sure that you do that. So today was unbelievable. And I just needed to remind our kids, it's okay to celebrate this. Let's have a good time. And then everybody relaxed, and we started to celebrate.
Down in front on the left.
Coach, Villanova in the first half had 5 threes. Every time you guys tied it up, it seemed like they had a response, whether that be the three-pointer or layup. But then in the second half, they had 1 3 in the first 10 seconds, and then after that, they were in a slump, shooting 7 of 28. What kind of changed as a result of that, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had to adjust. They like we run stuff for Leah and Naz. They were running stuff for number 14 and number 20. And if you got stuck on screens and 2 people came inside, they were popping and they were getting a lot of shots. Emily got in foul trouble, and she came out of the game, and she's a super high IQ player, a really great defender for us. So when she came out, we had to make an adjustment and figure out who was going to guard. And for the first time in a long time, we went 4 guards, and we made an adjustment and did a pretty good job of that. But when Emily got back in the second half, I know the one that they gave up, but then her and Naz talked about it and did a really awesome job after that.
Go, Larry.
Kim, whenever you're done celebrating a couple days, how motivated are you to lead this team, further? And you've never gone past the Sweet 16, and to kind of keep taking steps as a program.
Yeah, no, I think that's that's the big goal. And I think this class, even today when I was at the hotel, we were getting ready to come here, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine if this is our last day together. Like, I can't even wrap my head around that because I'm not ready. And so many times at the end of the year, you're kind of ready for the season to be over. You want a break. You need a break from coaching. You need a break from the kids. You just want a break. With this group, it's not like that. Like, I don't want it to end, and I try to embrace every single practice, every single moment with them. So I know we'll be back at it tomorrow and excited for what's ahead of us. There's been a ton of upsets. There's been plenty of great games. Everyone's a great team. We knew that coming into today's game. I mean, Villanova is a great team. So we know that we have our hands full every day, but we're just excited for the opportunity to keep playing.
Go down here front.
Like Kim, as much as you just spoke about Naz on her own, I think the other big thing is when you look at this conference and the number of people here, I know when we would go through our national players of the week every week, and week after week, she's consistent. She's right there. And then, like I said, some of these other teams and players are on this team. I mean, you could fill 2 WNBA teams with the talent that's here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the bigger the stage with Naz, the more she performs, and everybody had an opportunity to see that tonight. And like I told you, where Coach Mulaney came up to me after and what he said about her, and he's coached a lot of great players in his time, but he said that he's never seen anybody like her that has that motor on both ends of the floor. So she's really special, but our conference does prepare us for games like tonight because we face a ton of different styles of play, some similar to Villanova, and we face a lot of really great players. So I think, our conference certainly did prepare us for this contest tonight.
Got time for a few more. One on Zoom from Doug.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the win.
Hi, Doug.
So what did you guys learn from last year's run that you can take into the Sweet 16 this weekend? And you mentioned the upsets, and you're playing another team that pulled off a major upset. So how much does that help you that you've seen this, you played a team today that pulled off a big upset to face another one that obviously has done its own upsetting, so to speak?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I think it's unbelievable for women's basketball to have this kind of play at this point in the year. And I think someone mentioned it to us when we were chatting. You know, it's a lot of teams have a lot of experience returning, and that's why there's some of these upsets, because the COVID year and a lot of people have people coming back. And I know the team that we play next, I think, has 3, 5th, or 6th-year kids. So they have a lot of experience, and I think that's causing some of these upsets for sure. But it is tremendous for women's basketball. I think it's so much fun. Every game, like you're sitting on the edge of your seat, and I think it's just great. Our game is continuing to grow, and it's unbelievable. For us, I think experience, and we talk about it in so many ways, but being there before certainly helps. And us being in this game before last year, and then us having an opportunity to play in the Sweet 16 on another game that came down to the wire definitely helps. So with you know, our senior class obviously led by Naz and Leah in that group coming back, I think we'll have a little bit of confidence. But we also know that we cannot look past anyone or take anyone for granted. The team that we're going to play is an unbelievable team. They showed that last night in the way that they were able to defend Baylor. So it should be an exciting game, but experience always helps. Experience is the best teacher. We talk about that all the time.
Got time for 2 more. Alejandro.
Kim, you mentioned the moment of reflection pregame during the lineups. Did you have another when you subbed out the starters? And if so, what was it?
Yeah, I mean, I was so happy that we were able to have that moment, because sometimes you don't get to have it. But really more for our fans and for our season ticket holders and for the people that have been there for that class, for them to really have that moment and appreciate that moment. I think for me, when you guys ask me questions that make me have to think about these guys, or when I went over to do the TV after the game and they started chanting, you know, MVP, and like it kind of hit me like, oh my gosh, like this is Naz's last time playing on Chrysler. This is, you know, our seniors' last time playing on Chrysler. And when I start to think about that stuff, I'm like, holy cow. And you guys that have been with us for a long time really understand what they've meant to our program, to our university. And I say it so much about Naz, but she's generational, transformational. I mean, all those words are not made up. I mean, she means so much to our entire community. Obviously, on the basketball court, she's incredible, but she's even better off the court. If you can imagine that to be possible, that's the kind of person she is. So, you know, her legacy is deep, and she's going to be missed. But her entire class, they came in together and they said, we're going to create something incredibly special here. And they believed it, and they owned it, and they've done it. So I'm not ready to think about it yet. Maybe when I lay my head on the pillow tonight, but hopefully I have a few more weeks with them.
Final question, Angelique.
Kim, it's Naz focused again. How does she make everybody around her better? And also, would you like to see her number retired here?
So I think one of the things about Naz that people don't understand is she's so humble, and she's such an incredible teammate. Like, she doesn't even care if she scores. She doesn't care about any of. She's probably more excited tonight that she had the assignment of guarding the other team's best player. Normally, I don't give her that assignment because I don't want her to have 2 things to worry about. But tonight, we needed her to have that assignment, and she's capable of it. So she just is the best teammate in the world, and she gets excited about everyone else's success. And so many times you hear those things, or it's cliche, like, oh yeah, but she truly, it's genuine. And I think because every single person in our team really believes that, everyone is bought in. It just makes everyone want to be on board because Naz doesn't care. It's just a special kind of thing. She connects with each individual person in her own kind of way. So that was the part one. What was part two? Oh, yeah, I was trying to forget about that because I can go on about that one for a long time. We don't have time for that. I mean, if there's anyone, and I think there are a few that came before her that we were trying to work on, you know, I think she belongs in the rafters of Chrysler for sure. I mean, we always talk about the house that Cassie built, but we sometimes talk about the house that Nazi built on the women's side. Anyway.
All right, thank you, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank
Best
you.
of luck next week.
Thank you, guys.
And then questions for the players, and then circle back to questions for Coach Dillon.
Well, congratulations to Michigan heading into the Sweet 16. Heck of a game. They came ready to go, start to finish, but extremely proud of our group for battling till the end and giving everything they had as they have all season. So extremely proud of our group and happy with the season overall, but a tough one today.
Let's open up to questions for the players. Go here on the right.
You know, Brianna and Maddie, I guess, what was it like rebounding against this team and trying to keep Naz and Emily off the boards?
Yeah, it was definitely tough. They're obviously incredible rebounders down low. So, yeah, definitely tough. But, you know, we were in there battling with them, and some didn't get bounces sometimes. And, you know, some people from the outside came in and got rebounds. So definitely tough in there.
Down here in front.
Maddie, what did Michigan do to slow you down offensively?
I think they were really aggressive. You know, in hindsight, I should have done a few things differently offensively, but what are you gonna do? I mean, I did the best I could.
This question is for Brianna. You guys in the first half had 5 threes, and then you hit a 3 in the first 10 seconds of the second half, and then after that, there wasn't any other threes. What happened in the second half? What did Michigan do to maybe kind of change that?
I think that they were kind of more conscious of our three-point shooters. I know that Lior hit a bunch. Lucy was hitting a few. So I think they were definitely, you know, in the first half they were helping a lot in the middle. And then in the second half they were kind of further out on our shooters.
Mel, you got a question? Yeah. Okay. Anything else for the players?
You know, Brianna, I guess, what do you take away from your time at Villanova, starting with, you know, the NCAA tournament 4 years ago and then now again?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an incredible 6 years. Definitely a long time. But, I mean, I can't thank everyone enough from Villanova. I mean, I've learned so many things. I've grown so much. You know, I love my team. You know, friends will be friends forever. And, yeah, I think this year has been incredibly special, just seeing how we've grown from the beginning of the season to, you know, where we are now. You know, at the beginning of the season, it was kind of, you know, we had our ups and downs. We had Maddie out. We had, you know, freshmen starting, playing, and it was just kind of rocky start. But I think it shows, you know, how much grit and tenacity this team has and that we were able to make it this far.
Go ahead, Matt.
He kind of just asked you about how things ended. This was a 2-point game with 2-3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Michigan made one little push. When you guys were out there, could you kind of feel the momentum changing a little bit in the game, or was it just a matter of it just sort of that's just what happened, and they were able to have that one little spurt that sort of created that separation?
Yeah, I mean, we just stopped making shots, and I think that was the biggest thing. Is like, yeah, they were scoring, but we weren't. So if they're scoring and we're scoring, then you're going back and forth. It's different. But unfortunately, we just weren't able to hit. And we got some good looks down the stretch, especially I thought the end of the third quarter and the beginning of the fourth. And maybe we make one or two of those threes. All of a sudden, it went from an 8-point to a 5-point game. Then maybe it's a little different. But yeah, credit to them. They went on a great run, and we couldn't recover.
Anything further for the players? All right, thank you, ladies. You're dismissed. We'll begin with questions for Coach here with Larry in front.
As best you can answer this without having sour grapes, playing on the road, maybe having some questionable calls, just your thoughts on, how much of a disadvantage it is to play on someone's home court.
Yeah. Well, after seeing Saturday, their American game, we were expecting a great crowd, and even more than they had here Saturday. So just embracing the opportunity and appreciating that, but just trying to keep the team in check with knowing it would be a hostile environment. You have no control of that whatsoever, but just trying to keep the girls' heads focused on what we were doing and executing. And it is tough. I mean, it's the play calling, all of those things are tough on the floor, but you're expecting a battle no matter where you're playing, especially at this time of the season. So I felt our players embraced that, and they came in ready. Talked about some other games we played, like UConn, for instance, with such a crowd in our Big East tournament. So I don't know if it was so much the crowd as, just getting worn down as the game went on.
You talked about rebounding yesterday, and they out-rebounded you tonight. How big was that?
Yeah, obviously that's a strength of Michigan basketball. And Naz, she's extremely impressive. I took time yesterday to speak to that, and she showed exactly why she is, the All-American out on the floor. So it was tough. We had said, with Brianna and Maddie looking to put some contact in there, some bodies on players, but we needed more rebounds from our guards, and that's just everything. We talked about everyone being a rebounder in today's contest, and you get caught out of position, but it's a battle trying to beat her to the board.
Go ahead, Matt.
Naz Hillman took the task of guarding Maddie
Yes.
today. I know there's help as well, but the way that she played defense, did you expect her to be on there and then just sort of, I know there was a lot of talk about how well she did defending Maddie. She made it tough for her all day. Was that maybe a big factor today too?
Yes, and I think that's why Naz is such a great player. And she plays both ends of the floor at the highest level, and she doesn't tire either. It's really impressive, and that's why she'll be a great pro when she finishes up here. But yes, physically, I think she did a really nice job of knocking Mad off her mark on some of the cuts, just being in position. But even so, even when it wasn't man, you had her at the top of their press, and she did some nice things there as well, being disruptive. So, you want to see your two best players go up against one another, and that was the case today. And I think, again, some lessons learned for us, for Maddie. She's going to be willing to get after it. She has another season with us, which we're excited about, and she's grown each and every year, and we're only expecting bigger and better things in the future. And I think Naz is a great example of that for her and for our team.
Other questions for Coach?
Just to go back to the same kind of question with the players, that stretch there, end of the third, into the
Yes.
fourth, you called a couple of timeouts to try. What was the message in there to try to, talk to the team? And also, was it as simple as they said you had the looks you wanted, you just couldn't get the shots to go?
Exactly. Yeah, I thought we were continuing to share the ball, move the basketball, and get some shots. They weren't falling. And then the problem was then on the defensive end. Once some shots didn't fall for us, we it didn't let up on the initial aggressiveness of our D, but the rebounding. You know, we gave too many second, third chance opportunities, and that is only wearing you down a little bit more. So, yeah, just not capitalizing on some of those possessions and finding people. But talked about it all season, not allowing your offense to dictate defense. But when you're in a game like this and so much is on the line and the clock is running down, yeah, that pressure mounts a little more. Yeah, exactly.
Anything further for Coach? All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.